Hey guys, it's Elizabeth from Elizabeth Books, and I'm here today to do my September wrap-up. So I'm filming the first part now, and I'm going to film the second part later in the month, because this first part has like all the library books I've rented or borrowed, and I have to go return those today. So I'm just filming what I've read so far this month, and then like the end of the month I'll actually film the rest of it. So it'll be like me in two different outfits and hair and stuff, but the total will be at the end of what I read in September. So first in September I read The Merchant of Death, book 1 in the Pendragon series. I love this series, guys. I read this when in 7th grade was the first time I read this book. The book was read to us out loud, and I really liked it. We like read a chapter every day and did like worksheets on it, and it made me just want to like read it myself. So I read it myself the same year, but I think like later in the year. And then that just made me want to read the whole series. So I read them all only once. So I've read the first one. I read it only twice before. I had read only the rest of the series once, like my whole life. And the last one came out I think when I was in like 11th grade. And that was like 5 years ago. So I'd never read and there's 10 books. So I just decided I really wanted to reread them. My boyfriend owns like 4 through 10, I'm pretty sure, but he didn't own the first 3. So I borrowed the first one from the library and picked it back up. It was just as good as when I was a kid. Like, the adventures, like, he's a 14-year-old boy, he's like the star of high school. His name's Bobby. And he's like the star of his high school, like basketball star, everybody loves him. And he learns one day that he is a traveler, which is like a person who travels through space and time and different worlds, and he's here to try to save the different worlds from the evil protagonists like Saint Dane. And it is like Harry Potter, like he's Harry Potter, he's trying to save the world from Voldemort. Like, you know, all books are based like that. There's a villain, there's a hero. But they're such good books, guys. Like, I don't even know how to describe it. Just I picked it back up. This one is, they go to the world Denduron, and it's like there's people that live in castles, people that live in like huts, and Bobby has to help them like work together and be friends while Saint Dane is trying to like turn the world into chaos. And yeah, you'll just have to read to see what happens. But the second book I read in September was Stolen by Lucy Christopher. Ooh, I really wanted to like this book. I liked it at first. Like, it's this girl, she gets kidnapped and like drugged and stuff and taken to Australia, and her captor is about 10 years older than her. I believe she's like 15, and her captor was like not 30 but like 27, I think, something like that. And I don't know, I liked I didn't like it, but it was a like thrilling story, her being like stolen and all that. But the ending, I just didn't like it, and I thought it was going to be like a 5-star book, but I bumped it down to 4 stars because I just couldn't, like, I did not agree with what happened in this book. The third book I read in September was The Lost City of Far, which is the second book in the Pendragon series. I remember growing up, I didn't really like this one, but rereading it, I enjoyed it a lot. Like, it's about Chlorel, which is a different world, and it's like an underwater world. We meet a character named Spader. He is like one of the most amazing characters in the Pendragon series. He's funny. He has his own like unique language, hobby ho, if you ever read Pendragon, and it's just so cute. Like, Saint Dane's come, he's like poisoned Chlorel, and Bobby's gotta save the day, but does he? I don't know. You gotta read the book. And the fourth book I read in September was The Boy Next Door by Meg Cabot. It was okay. It's like this book all told in like text messages or like emails. It's like all told in emails, and I don't know, I didn't really get like confused. It just kind of bored me, and it would be like gaps of time because it was like they emailed each other and then nothing happened, then you had to get caught up in the email, and I don't know, it was like Attachments by Rainbow Rowell, but just not as good. Like, I mean, I guess this was like the original Attachments, huh? But I don't know. I just didn't really like it, and I have the other two I need to read in the series, and I'm not sure if I'll get to them this month after all. You never know. Like, it might be in my second part of this video that I did get to them, but I didn't really dig this book, so we'll see. Next I read Losing Hope, which is like the hopeless companion novel, and hopeless is like Colleen Hoover, and so Losing Hope was like Anne Holder's point of view, and I really enjoyed it. I feel like it added more to the story, because I feel like some of those companion novels don't give you any details that you didn't really already know just because the other person said it. Like, it didn't add anything to the story, but I felt like Hopeless added so much to the story. It made me cry so much, and yeah, if you loved Losing Hope, so if you loved Hopeless, like, I would pick up Losing Hope for sure. I think it adds way more to some of the characters, and you know more about them, and it was just a fantastic read. The next book I read was The Kingdom Hearts Volume 1, like, graphic novel. Like, it's not a manga, because mangas you read, like, you know, this way and then blah blah blah, but this one was just like you read it and you read this page, and so yeah, I guess it's like a graphic novel? Comic? I don't know, but it was really good. It's Kingdom Hearts. I freaking love Kingdom Hearts. I am actually replaying Kingdom Hearts 2 right now because I read this and it just made me want to play Kingdom Hearts. But I didn't really want to play the first one because I've played that one like 500 times, so I was like, let's play the second one, even though I played that one like 500 times, but that one was like 499 times, so, you know, gotta play that one more time. And I'm so excited for the new Kingdom Hearts for PS4, and it's not out yet, and the only reason I bought a PS4 was for that freaking game, and I want it so bad, guys. But yeah, this book was Kingdom Hearts. I want the rest of them, but I'm not going to go out and like buy them. It's just, I got this at my local used bookstore, so if more of them pop up, I will totally pick them up because I love Kingdom Hearts. Next I read On the Fence by Casey West. It was a cute little like contemporary read. I picked this one up in my like Amazon unboxing haul, and I'll link it below for you guys to see if you haven't checked it out. But yeah, like, it was just a cute contemporary read. I gave it like a 4. Yeah, I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. I really liked it. Like, it was about this girl, her mother passed away, and she has 3 older brothers, and then the neighbor next door is like her 4th older brother. And it's just how she goes through life. She gets in like speeding tickets, and she has to get a job to pay it off. And it's about her being a tomboy and then having to be a girly girl and making friends and boyfriends and lying and all this stuff, and I don't know, it was a really fast read. Like, it literally took me like less than 2 hours to read this book, but it was really good. I really recommend it. Next I read The Never War, which is the 3rd Pendragon book, and growing up I didn't think I really liked this one either, but rereading it, it was really good. It's about Bobby goes back in time to First Earth, which is Earth that we live in now, in like 1937. It's about like New York and mobsters and gangs and things, and he works in a like big fancy hotel to like find information about a mob boss, and yeah, and who was Saint Dane in this book? You'll never know. But it was really good. There was Bobby jumping out of planes, there was like storms, there was explosions, there was gunfights, like, it was really good. And Bobby turns 15 in this book, so instead of 14 now, he's 15, and he's still been away from his home life, going around traveling, and yeah, and now I gotta read the 4th one. So next in September, I read Clockwork Prince, the 2nd book in the Infernal Devices series. I really enjoyed it, but I do feel like it was 500 pages of pure nothing. Like, it was very beautiful. I loved what I read, but I feel like it was absolutely nothing. Like, nothing happened. Like, nothing made the plot go on. Like, yes, she does get engaged. Tessa gets engaged. I won't tell you who in case you haven't read it, but she gets engaged, and yeah, I feel like that's about it. Nothing like significant happened. Like, it was beautiful. It was a very nice read. I just feel like it could have been cut out and it could have been the first book and like the last book and the series would have been fine. Like this was basically 500 pages of nothing. But like I did give it a 4 out of 5 stars because I did enjoy like what I read, but I'm just repeating what I'm saying over and over. But yes, like if you don't feel like reading all 3 books, don't even read this one. It's okay. I don't think it's needed. But yeah, so after that I did read Clockwork Princess, which is the 3rd and final book in the Infernal Devices series, which I loved this book completely. I loved the first book the most out of this series. Like I did give this one a 4 out of 5 stars too, but I loved it way more than the second book because it actually, like, the plot went on, a lot of things happened. There's some death, there's some marriages, you'll never know, you read the book. But yeah, I just love this like old Englandy feel to books. Like they're just my favorite, and it didn't affect me as much as people said it would. Like a lot of people said this was their favorite book of the year. Like it made them cry, they loved it so much, and it didn't really do anything to me. Like I thought the ending was kind of meh. Like I didn't know why they had to do that. Like how I wanted it to end wasn't how it really ended, so I guess it's my own fault for like, hoping something happened. But it didn't affect me as much as I think it affected a lot of people. But I haven't read like the Mortal Instruments series at all. I've only read this one because the Mortal Instruments series just hasn't like intrigued me as much as this one. But I feel like I will get to them, just I'm not sure when. Okay, so after that one, I read The Moon and More by Sarah Dessen. And oh my god, guys, this book was like dry toast. Dry toast family. What movie is that from? Anyway, I started this book like August 21st, and I read all those other books before I could finish this book on I finished this September 14th. I started August 21st, guys. Like, I literally would read like 40 pages, put it down for 3 books, read 40 pages, put it down for 3 books. Like, I just did not like it. It was like 500 pages too of pure meh. Like, Sarah Dessen, what is this? I love Sarah Dessen. Like, I have all her books behind me and I have more on the gram and stuff. And this one was just like nothing to me. Like, I didn't care about any of the characters. I didn't care about the main character. I didn't care about her family. Like, she had so many different family members. Like, the reason her father is like rude to her kind of for this, I don't know, it just seemed like a dumb reason. Like, I don't know. If you love Sarah Dessen, like, I wouldn't even read this book. It just like ruined her, and I'm like scared to read another book from her, like a new one, because I've read all her previous books, and this was just meh. It was just very dry, very like it was just nothing. It was like 400 and something pages of pure nothing. Yeah, I gave it a 3. I could probably give it less, but I'm nice because I like Sarah Dessen. And finally, so far, I've read Splendor, the 4th book in the Lux series. And this isn't like the Lux Alien series that I know people are talking about. This was like a New York 1900s, like Mean Girls, Gossip Girl series. And I read them growing up and I like enjoyed them. They're like fast little reads. And this one was no exception. Like, it was just gossip and balls and lies and all in nice dresses. Yeah. Like, I guess it concluded the series. It wasn't really anything special, but I mean, I flew through it. I read it in like 2-3 hours, and I gotta go return it to the library now. Yay! But yeah, guys, that's all I read so far, and today is the 16th of September, so I've read 11 books so far. But yeah, and I will insert the next part of the video now. Hey guys, so here's the second part of my September wrap-up. So I read about 10 books, I think, the second part of September. So if you saw my first part, like, I had to return almost like all of those were library books, so I had to return them. So this is the next part. My first one, and I'm going to count and show this to you because I don't even care, was The Berenstain Bears and Too Much Junk Food. This was a book. I don't care. This is my favorite Berenstain Bear book, like, growing up. I just love the junk food. I'm horrible. Like, I saw this at Barnes & Noble, and I was with my friends, and I was like, can I please buy this book? It's like $4. I don't need it. But I was just like, it's my childhood. And, I mean, it's amazing, because it's the Berenstain Bears, and I'm talking way too much about a picture book. Yeah, my next book was Peter Pan. It was okay. I mean, I've never actually read Peter Pan before, like, which I feel very, like, which is shocking to me, because I've seen, like, every different kind of Peter Pan, like, movie adaptation, and I've, like, read Tiger Lily and all that by Peter Pan. I feel like I've read other, like, Peter Pan, like, books, but I never actually read Peter Pan. And I mean, I just felt very confused. A lot of the times, the writing was just very confusing to me. It just felt like unneeded, but I mean, overall, I liked the story. Like, I loved the Peter Pan story, but this, like, adaptation of writing, I don't know. It, like, some parts just were, I don't know, I just didn't really like it, but there were some, like, really funny parts, like, how it was written. I don't know how there's, like, a part and the dad, like, lives in the doghouse until he says he'll stay in the doghouse forever until his children, like, come back. And I'm like, in all the movies and stuff, it makes the dad seem like a really mean person. And in these books, he seems, like, more and more as, like, a nice and caring man who, like, loved his children. And just stuff like that, like, so overall, like, it was a good read, but I feel like I would rather just watch things about Peter Pan than actually read, like, this, like, actual Peter Pan again. Yeah. Then I read Boy Meets Girl by Meg Cabot, which was, like, her second book in the, what series is this? Like, Boy Meets World? Oh, the Boy Next Door series? I don't know. I read the first one, which was The Boy Next Door? Yeah. I read The Boy Next Door the first half of the month, and it wasn't very good at all. It was pretty bad. Like, I compared it to Attachments by Rabel Rao, but Attachments was 10 times better. And so I didn't know if I said I wanted to read the second and the third one this month. And so I picked up the second one, and oh my gosh, this was 100 times better than the first one. This actually, like, I don't know, this was so funny. The plot was really good. I don't know, I just really, really enjoyed it. It follows a lot of the same characters in the first book, but then you get introduced to new characters, and I really, really liked the main character way more than the first book's main character. Her name's Kate. She's the person who, like, in a company, she has to fire them. So she has to fire, like, the cafeteria lady, even though she doesn't want to. The cafeteria lady then sues her and her company, like, her boss and all that. She has to get, like, a lawyer. The lawyer is, like, the brother of the person the cafeteria lady, like, wouldn't feed, which is why she got fired. I don't know. It's just so funny. It was really good. There's a bunch of recipes in here that the cafeteria lady, I guess I could not call her that. You know what I mean, though. But she would, like, send Kate, that was the main character, I don't remember if I said that, but she would send Kate, like, recipes for cookies and cake and all that, and so the whole recipe was, like, in here step by step. So I think I want to try to make, like, some of these recipes, and I don't know, I just really liked this one. I didn't get to the third one this month, but I'm hoping it's a better story than the first one. Like, I hope it's even better than the second one, because I would read this one again. I don't think I'm going to keep the first book, because they're not really, like, a series. They're just, like, companions to each other, so you don't really need to read the first one to know what happens, because it, like, recaps in this one well enough. And I feel like I wouldn't keep the first one, but I would definitely keep and reread this one. Next I read Ask the Passengers by A.S. King. This wasn't for me. I didn't like it at all, which makes me really sad. I know a lot of people like A.S. King and they've recommended this, and I didn't like, I mean, I liked the main character, alright. It was just like the storyline, just I didn't feel was very good. It wasn't very strong. And how she would connect and, like, give her love to people on airplanes, so then it would cut to, like, the people on the airplanes who, like, suddenly felt surges of love and like da da da. And I don't know, like the concept, I feel like I wanted to like it, but I couldn't like it. And so like a lot of these books I've been averaging like 3 stars, like, you know, like I read it, there's some good parts, but like I want a book that like really blows me away and I love all of it, and I haven't really had too many this month, which makes me really sad. But I mean, I can't say if you would like this or not, because it has a lot of key elements that I do enjoy in books. I just didn't like this one, like how it was all executed. Then I read Love Letters to the Dead by Ava Delara. And again, I really wanted to like this book, but it was almost exactly The Perks of Being a Wallflower, which I find hilarious that the blurb on the front is from Stephen Chbosky, who wrote The Perks of Being a Wallflower. What? I don't know. I mean, he's not saying anything about like, this is unique, but I bet he read this book and was like, wow, you stole my story. I don't know, like, they switched like sex, like, you know, genders, and like a few things happened differently, but it was pretty much The Perks of Being a Wall. Like, I hate to say that, but that's what it was. And so I did enjoy it. But then there was parts that just like out of nowhere just were inserted. Like the last like 50 pages, she just blurts this like big secret out that I was like, where did this even come from? Like, your character didn't show any of this, like that this had happened to you. There's like, you know, abuse and stuff, and I don't know, it was just like she inserted in there to be like, gotta be like even more like Perks of Being a Wallflower, like gotta make my story exactly like it. So I mean, it was pretty good, and I'm glad I borrowed it from the library, because I would have been mad if I bought this, because I don't think I'd read it again. I would just read Perks of Being a Wallflower. Yeah. Next I read The Sky is Everywhere by Jandy Nelson. This book was horrible. Like, I hated this book a lot, which makes me so sad, because this book is highly recommended. Everybody who reads it says it like tore them apart. They absolutely loved it. I don't understand why. Can someone please tell me why this book was so good to you? Because I don't know, maybe I just read too much. Maybe some teen books just like aren't for me. This was horrible. It's about how this girl Lenny, her like sister dies, and suddenly like her sister's fiance loves her, and she's in love with this new boy from like France who like plays the trumpet in her band, and there's like this love triangle. It is the most like horribly written love triangle I've ever read. It doesn't move me. It didn't make me feel like sad, or I just felt like this is stupid. Why is this going on? There's some like really nice quotes from it. Yes, like I feel like she wrote this to get an award. There's like passages that had nothing to do with what was going on, but she was all deep and stuff, and it was like, okay, this doesn't connect me at all to like the main character. But like there are some quotes in there that were like, it was like, you can do whatever you want with your life, you're the author of your own story, you know, stuff like that. And I was like, oh, that's pretty. And then there was like, don't worry, it was like, Lenny, the sky doesn't, like, don't look up, like the sky doesn't begin up, and the, you know, like up, it's like the sky is everywhere, it begins at your feet, like, you know, stuff like that. I can't remember the exact quote, so don't like get mad at me, but you know, it was pretty, there was stuff like that, and I thought that was really good. But and then in the beginning she like writes little notes on pieces of paper and stuff, I don't know, like on like vanilla envelopes, and like, you know, there's like ones on cups and it says like where the person found it, but it's like the guy finds it, like one of the love interests, he finds it, and he's like, oh, I've been following you and collecting all these notes of paper you threw away, I knew they were for me. And it was like, what? She wasn't even doing, no, it was stupid, and I'm never gonna read this again. So yeah, next I read The Beginning of Everything by Robin Schneider. Um, this was pretty good. Like, this was probably one of the better books I read this, like, half of September. But, again, it was not the greatest. It was about this kid, Ezra, who was on the tennis team, and he gets hit by a car, so he can't play tennis anymore, which I just don't understand this plot. So he's on the tennis team. Who schools the tennis team, like, the most popular team in school? Because apparently in this school, it's tennis. I just find that hilarious. I don't know why. I don't know. Just to me, like, how the tennis team, like, football, basketball, wrestling, those aren't the popular. No, okay, so tennis. He's the king of tennis. Okay, and he can't play tennis anymore, and his friends still, like, you know, from the tennis team, like, invite him to his table and invite him to parties, and he's just like, what? Why do they still want to be my friends? I'm like, what? You really thought they were only your friends because you played tennis? I don't understand. Like, they're not going to be your friend anymore? You were their best friend for, like, 4 years, but you were only friends because you played tennis. Okay, I don't know. Just little stuff like that made me so mad. I was like, you can't believe people liked you for other reasons than tennis. Okay. And there was, like, conflicts with his teachers that I thought would, like, his history teacher was, like, I'm pretty sure was, like, his coach. And in the beginning, he's like, you know, he, like, snaps off to the coach, and the coach is like, oh, you made this, you're really hard for yourself. But then nothing else happens. Like, that makes me think, like, there's going to be conflict with the coach, and there's going to be, you know, like, some assignment that he's just like, oh, you didn't do it, or some, you know, some more drama with the, like, nothing else happened with this teacher. He met, like, his friend when he was, like, in 7th grade or something. He stopped being his friend because of reasons, and he, like, you know, joined tennis and all that, but then it's like, he's like, oh, none of my friends will like me anymore. I'll go hang out with him again. It was like all your friends kept inviting you over to the table. Blah, blah, blah. Maybe it's like you don't think you have anything in common with them anymore because you can't play tennis. But they still invited you over to be their friend. There's this little passage like, no one loves me. And it was like, okay. And then he dates this girl, and the girl, like, you find out the girl's brother dies. So then it was like, the rest of the story was just very, I just knew what was going to happen. So then, like, the shocking twist at the end, I was like, yeah, I knew that was going to happen. So, I mean, it was pretty well written. Like, I liked most of it. It was just a bunch of those things about being like, oh, the king of popularity. I played tennis. And, I don't know, just little things like that. Just, no offense to anyone who plays tennis. Like, I'm not trying to be mean. I just thought it was hilarious that it was, like, tennis over, like, football and, you know, the stereotypical, like, popular sports that the tennis team was, like, the... Okay, I'm gonna stop bashing tennis. I like tennis. Okay. Next book. I read A Year of Trading Spaces, page by page. And this was adorable. I loved the show Trading Spaces growing up. I used to watch it, like, every day, I feel like. It was always on TV. And this was just a journal of Paige, like, journaling every day of things that, like, happened to her in Trading Spaces, like, you know, what happened, like, with her life, with her husband, where they traveled, and I don't know, I thought it was really, really good. It was just, it made me feel like I was watching the show over again, all her little details she talked about, and I really, really liked it. I just love Trading Spaces. So a lot of reviews on, like, Goodreads said it was really annoying, like she was too perky, and I was like, well, she was perky. Like, she was perky and fun and Paige, and it just, like, came off in her writing that she was probably at least mostly writing this if she, you know, probably got help with somebody. But I thought it was really cute, and I really enjoyed it. Then I read What Happened to You Goodbye by Sarah Dessen, and this one was okay. It was way, way, way better than The Moon and More by Sarah Dessen. That one was pretty bad. I talked about that in the first half. And again, like, I think I mentioned, like, I've read this before, like, 4 years ago. I really couldn't remember what happened, and I'm pretty sure I rated it, like, a 2 out of 5. And I couldn't remember why, so I reread it, and it's okay. Like, it's definitely not a 2. It's probably a 3 or 4. Probably, like, a 3.5. I rated it, like, a 4 because it felt more than a 3, you know, on Goodreads. And it's just really, nothing really happens in this one again that, like, moves me. It's her dad is, like, a chef. Then he becomes, like, a restaurant, like, you know, like Restaurant Impossible, like Robert Irvine, and he goes to restaurants and, like, remodels them. And his mom, like, her mom cheated on the dad with, like, the coach of the DeFry, like, basketball team. And so she, like, hates her mom, but drama and blah, and it's just, like, it was good. Again, it's just, like, very, very thick with, like, not much happening, but I would recommend it over The Moon and More. I don't feel like anyone should read that one. It was pretty bad. But again, if you don't feel like reading all of Sarah Destin's books, I mean, I wouldn't really pick this one up. I don't know if I would really read it again. Like, it was okay. Like, I'm going to keep it because I have all of Sarah Destin's books. I don't think I'm going to buy The Moon and More, but The Moon and More. But if someone gave it to me, I would keep it to add to my Sarah Destin collection. But, yeah, it was okay. And finally, the last book I read in September was The Sweet, Terrible, Glorious Year I Truly, Completely Lost It. And it's by Lisa Shanahan. Yeah. And I borrowed this from the library, and I basically just picked this up because I thought it was cute. Like, I didn't know anything what this is about. It was actually really good. It was like, it was an Australian novel. So it's told in Australia, and it's about this girl who's like 14, and her sister's getting married. And so she, like, the year is her going through school, like, her sister's getting married, she has to be the bridesmaid, her sister won't let her wear, like, a traditional dress, her sister's theme is animals that mate for life, so she and her sister's, fiance's sister, they both have to be swans instead of, like, traditional flower girl dresses, so that's just hilarious. These reminded me of, like, the Georgia Nicholson, you know, like, diaries. It was pretty funny. And she also meets, my, like, favorite part in this book is she meets a boy, there's a boy in her school named Raven. He has 2 older brothers named Crow and Magpie, and 2 younger brothers named Robin and Swallow, I'm pretty sure that's what it was. And I don't know, that just, like, amused me so much. And she gets to know that family. That family's, like, very, like, scary. The older brothers have been in jail, you know, like, there's drugs, there's not very much money in their family. And she goes over and she becomes, like, really good friends with Crow and learns more about him and his family. And there's this scene in there that just made me cry, like, so much with the family. And this was, like, a really good, like, hidden gem, I feel like. I don't know, I feel like I've never heard of this before, ever. And it was really, really cute, and I'm really glad I picked it up. And yeah, guys, that was everything I read in September. It was 22 books overall. I don't know about you, I'm feeling 22. But yeah, so I'm excited to make my October TBR, and I'll see you in that video next. Bye, guys.